For this
the right thing to do because
Losong and his wife. China's land border with Mongolia is the longest. It was the first country in Latin America to establish diplomatic ties.
And on the red carpet now, our Prime Minister of Malaysia and
China-Serbia cooperation and exchanges. The two nations are advancing the high-quality development of the China-Serbia community with a shared future. They are ironclad friends.
Pakistan Shahbaz Sharif. Pakistan was one of the first countries to recognize the People's Republic of China. The two are ironclad friends and all-weather strategic cooperative partners. They are deepening.
China and Iran have a long-standing friendship. In their 54 years of diplomatic ties, their relations have always been stable and healthy. In 2016, Chinese President Xi Jinping made a state visit to Iran. The two countries established a comprehensive strategic partnership. Next is the President of the Republic of the Congo. The two peoples have interacted for their mutual benefit. This April, they elevated
President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Luong Quang. China and Vietnam share a long history.
long history of friendly exchanges. This year is the 70th anniversary. Relations have been tested by changes and challenges, but they always remain at a high level. China and Kazakh's capitals are sister cities. Next is the General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Kim Jong-un. China and the DPRK established diplomatic ties on October 6, 1949. The DPRK was one of the first to establish ties with the People's Republic of China. Linked by mountains and waters, China and the DPRK are friendly neighbors. This year also marks the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation. The two peoples supported each other in hard times and through war. They jointly fought against Japanese aggression and made significant contributions to the World Anti-Fascist War and the cause of justice of humanity. The traditional friendship between the two countries was cemented by the old generations of their leaders. Their friendship, also forged in bloody and fiery revolutions, has developed in the process of their socialist construction and is priceless. In recent years, General Secretary Xi Jinping and General Secretary Kim Jong-un have maintained communication through various means. They lead and guide and again, another look at the London Gate just north of the Tiananmen rostrum. The red carpet has rolled out
to An Avenue. They're ready for the inspection of the Commander-in-Chief. Motorcade carrying heads of state, international dignitaries are arriving here at the Duan Gate. On the red carpet right now is President Prabowo Subianto of the Republic of Indonesia. He arrived early this morning, and China welcomes his arrival. He's here at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, under the strategic guidance of the two heads of state, China and Indonesia have opened a new chapter of jointly building a community with a shared future. During World War II, Chinese people living in Indonesia donated money and supplies. Many of them returned to China to join the resistance and became heroes. Renowned Chinese writer and anti-fascist intellectual Yu Dafu traveled to Southeast Asia to join the resistance. And he was killed in Sumatra, Indonesia. He wrote, "Our generation should sacrifice for the war of resistance." President Prabowo made a state visit to China soon after his presidential inauguration in 2024. China and Indonesia are traditional friends and neighbors. And it was in this year that China and Indonesia embarked on a new chapter of bilateral ties by building a community with a shared future.
International dignitaries are continuing to arrive at Duan.
President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. Putin has been to China many times since 2013, either for state visits or international conferences. Relations between China and Russia are at their historical best. Their ties are characterized by long-term friendly good neighborliness and mutually beneficial win-win cooperation. In the new era, China-Russia relations are more self-confident, firm, and resilient. From May 7th to 10th, President Xi Jinping made a state visit to Russia and attended commemorations in Moscow of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Soviet Union's Great Patriotic War. In World War II, China was the main battlefield in Asia, and the Soviet Union was the main battlefield in Europe. They were central to resistance and combat against Japanese militarism and Nazi Germany.
Victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. International dignitaries have now arrived and are meeting the Chinese president and his wife.
Good to see you again.
As we're watching right now, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Madame Peng Liyuan are welcoming international dignitaries at the South Square of Duanmen Gate.
Welcome to China.
These are heads of international organizations that are walking down the red carpet to be received by the Chinese president and his wife.
That's right. And a decade ago, on September 3rd, it was also here where Chinese President Xi Jinping and his wife, Madame Peng Liyuan, welcomed international guests to the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War.
上合反恐机构主任、吉安条约组织秘书长、独联体秘书长、欧亚经济委员会执行委员会主任。
Many of the guests attending the commemoration today previously attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin, which concluded just a few days ago.
That's right, and President Xi says the SCO is a proactive force for world peace and development. It is the first grouping to put forth the vision of global governance, featuring extensive consultation and joint contribution for shared benefit as an effort to practice true multilateralism. He also said the SCO always stands on the side of international fairness and justice and champions inclusiveness and mutual learning between civilizations and opposes hegemonism and power politics.
新加坡副总理严金勇。
And also at that Tianjin summit, President Xi proposed a global governance initiative. He calls on members to adhere to sovereign equality, abide by international rule of law, practice multilateralism, advocate the people-centered approach, and focus on taking real actions.
The Chinese president and his wife greeting the international dignitaries that have arrived in Beijing for the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War.
越南国家主席梁强
Now we're watching live pictures from the heart of Beijing, the
伊
Duanmen
朗总
Gate
统及女
to the
儿
north of the Forbidden City. Dozens of heads of state and leaders of international organizations are arriving on the red carpet. And in about half an
阿
hour,
塞夫总统
the commemoration ceremony will begin
很高兴再次见到
on
你。
西
Tiananmen
奇总统
Square.
和夫人
As part of this commemoration, a grand military parade will also take place. Troops and armaments are standing by ready along Chang'an Avenue as we speak.
津巴布韦总统姆南加古瓦
Welcome to China，很高兴再次见到你。
刚果布总统萨苏 哈萨克斯坦总统托卡耶夫
It's early morning in Beijing. CGTN is broadcasting live to a global
Thank you for
audience.
being here.
亚美尼亚总理及夫人
The
西哈布尼
president
国王
is saying to his guests, welcome, welcome.
米尔基耶夫总统和夫人
昨天的会见非常好。
And as
卢卡申科总
these
统
international guests are arriving, later on they will pose for a group
安
photo.
赫蒙总统
And here's what we know about the commemoration that will happen later today. The Chinese president will deliver an important speech at the commemoration.
通伦
And the commemoration includes a massive military
很高
parade,
兴再次见到你。
which is composed of two parts, the inspection of the troops and the march past, lasting approximately 70 minutes.
Welcome to China。
总书记
The Chinese president and his wife welcoming guests arriving for the commemoration. And now they're walking towards a group photo where the arriving international dignitaries will take a group photo together with the Chinese president.
We are certainly marking a significant anniversary today on September 3rd. China is commemorating the 80th anniversary of the victory
For all countries to work together to create a harmonious world and safeguard global peace.
Well, as you can see right there, front and center on this gate is the character Duan Men. The Chinese character Duan also conveys righteousness, which is consistent with the message of safeguarding international justice.
The leaders are now walking together towards the Tiananmen Rostrum. It's a short walk from the Duanmen Gate we've been telling you about, which stands just north of the Tiananmen Rostrum, to the rostrum itself.
And Joshi, you know, for many foreign leaders who have visited China before, the Tiananmen Rostrum, or the Forbidden City, is a familiar sight. Many of them have been here before to the Forbidden City. However, this gathering here today holds a special significance.
Absolutely. The Tiananmen Rostrum sits right in the heart of the Chinese capital, with viewing platforms that can overlook the Tiananmen Square. The leaders will be walking towards the rostrum. They will ascend to the viewing platform on the rostrum and view the military parade together.
Now, as they walk on the red carpet to make their way to the top of the Tiananmen Rostrum, a little bit of background information about the structure. It was built as a ceremonial gate to the imperial city in the Ming Dynasty. It's witnessed the ties of Chinese history in the past 6 centuries.
And in 1937, Tiananmen Square witnessed the fall of Peking. In October 1945, Japanese invaders in North China officially surrendered at the square of the Hall of Supreme Harmony in the Forbidden City.
Today's commemoration is certainly a big national event, a military event as well, as troops and armaments are standing by ready for the inspection. It is also a significant diplomatic event, as heads of state, leaders of international organizations are convening here to review the commemoration and the parade.
The leaders are making full use of this time as they walk together to the Tiananmen rostrum, engaging in friendly chit-chat and conversations.
And today, the Tiananmen rostrum, steeped in the depths of history, will again witness new glory. It is a pretty long walk to ascend to the top of the Tiananmen rostrum.
"80 decades ago, World War II ended with over 100 million casualties among soldiers and civilians worldwide. Chinese casualties were more than 35 million. And today is about commemorating the victory in that war, in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, as well as the World Anti-Fascist War. And now the leaders are arriving at that expansive viewing platform up on the Tiananmen rostrum.
And we understand that some of the veterans of the War of Resistance were given their own viewing spots on top of the Tiananmen rostrum. Crowds are welcoming China's top leader, as well as international dignitaries. We are seeing veterans sitting there, and President Xi Jinping and international dignitaries are shaking hands with a 99-year-old veteran, 100-year-old veteran from the 8th Route Army, 94-year-old veteran from the 8th Route Army, 102-year-old veteran from the new 8th Route Army, and from South China Guerrilla Force, 100-year-old veteran from the Kuomintang. And during the fight against the Japanese aggression, the Chinese people established a national united front to safeguard their homeland.
Obviously, the Chinese president was very pleased to see the veterans present up on the Tiananmen rostrum. He even introduced the veterans to his guests there, and shaking hands with the veterans, greeting them, welcoming them.